Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and yes, my voice is back. It's a little bit, I think it will be like 90% okay now, finally. But anyways, we're checking out why are so many Americans suddenly getting German citizenship right now. Well, let's find out.
1 in 3 Americans living abroad are now considering giving up their American citizenship, and the reason they are doing so could actually affect you as a non-American. But why? Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie, and along with my wife Aubrey, we are 2 Americans currently living in Germany with our baby, sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. I've been living in Germany for 5 years now, and I actually have an appointment in September to get German citizenship. In our time living in Germany, I have been met with questions from other foreigners from countries whose passports aren't particularly strong, wondering why on earth an American with one of the most powerful passports in the world would possibly need to get a German passport. Well, I'm actually not alone in this endeavor as an American trying to gain a different nationality, but fortunately for me, Germany just made it legal for all to hold multiple nationalities, so I actually am planning on keeping my American citizenship as well. However, new data shows that 1 in 3 Americans living abroad are planning to renounce their citizenship or are seriously considering it. But what if I told you that part of the reason why these Americans are looking at doing this is because of the laws the American government have imposed that actually also affects non-US citizens around the world, but have no idea, and one day Uncle Sam might come knocking on their door without any warning. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today in my video. What's the straight facts about American taxes? The US is extremely unique in that it is the only developed nation in the world that taxes its American citizens based on, well, being a citizen. At surface level, one might think, for example, Germans pay taxes in Germany because they are Germans. But that's not the case. Germany has a residence-based taxation system, which is the most common taxation system in the world, by the way. In this system, residents just pay taxes wherever they reside. If they are living in Germany, then they pay taxes there. If a German moves from Germany, they don't pay taxes to Germany anymore because they are no longer a German resident and instead pay taxes to whatever country they live in despite them still being German citizens. For Americans, it's not so simple. In fact, it's extremely complicated. If you're lucky enough to be a citizen of one of the residence-based taxation countries, which odds are you are considering that as most of the world, or if your country has a territorial taxation system, which would encompass the rest of the world outside of these two knuckleheads who tax citizens on worldwide income based on citizenship, then I'm sure you don't appreciate the bliss that is filing your returns in just one country.
If an American lives and works in the US, of course they will pay taxes there. However, thanks to the US's unique citizenship-based taxation, if an American moves abroad, they will not only pay taxes in the country they live and work in, but also their income will be liable for US taxes as well.
Now note, this does not actually necessarily
I don't even live in the US. I've never gone to the US and I still have to pay the US tax. How is that possible? Like I haven't even stepped foot in the US and I'm already paying them tax. How? Because freaking YouTube, if you have viewers from the US, you are required to give 15%. So what's the 15% of like $7, which we make? Because that's all we make here because it's copyright. Anyways. And still America is like, I don't care if you make $7, 777 million, I'm taking 15%. As long as you're not in an American, but you still have viewership from America. Thank you. Mic drop. That's what it said. Bish.
mean that Americans have to pay the US government money if they are living abroad. Here's where it gets even more complicated, cumbersome, frustrating, and bureaucratic. There are ways of getting your income excluded from paying taxes through credits and exclusions, like using, for example, the foreign earned income exclusion. For 2023, American citizens were able to exclude up to $120,000 of foreign earned income from American taxes using this exclusion. However, there are complicated exceptions to the exceptions, like passive income doesn't count for this exclusion as one example. But what's really important to know, no matter what, you are not excluded from filing returns if you live and work outside the US, so the American government can check up and make sure you don't owe them something. In fact, because this is our reality, when I decided to get German citizenship, I started asking various accountants and such for advice on if it would be worth getting German citizenship, or if the tax situation would just be this complicated for the rest of my life and I shouldn't do it. Basically, they said if you moved back to the US, you wouldn't have to do anything with Germany anymore tax-wise and would just have to file American returns. However, well, if you live in Germany because of your American citizenship, yes, it will be complicated for the rest of your life. With how crazy complicated this can be, it is often very beneficial for Americans abroad to use a service like that of the sponsor of today's video, Expats Overseas. Expats Overseas has helped over 18,500 Americans with US returns overcome this daunting tax process, evident by their phenomenal reviews on Trustpilot. Along with their incredible human support who are quick to answer any questions and an average turnaround times of just 2 weeks after submitting all documents, they also offer an easy-to-use digital tax organizer to simplify submitting your information. And let me tell you, when you have to file returns in 2 different countries, it can be frustrating working with accountants in both countries.
I know
who
this
can
on an
only
ad, but we're
file for that
vibing.
country. Expats Overseas simplifies this by being able to file returns in the US and your resident country, so you don't have to submit everything twice. I'll leave a link to their website in the description, and you can contact them to get a personal intake form and a free tailored quote.
I have a question because the tax situation gives me headache, right? So I feel like if I do reside in America, I think the IRS is gonna come for me just because I do not know how to do the taxes, right? So is there a way to get around it? Like, can you? I know it's gonna be expensive, but I was gonna say, can you hire someone to do it for you? Can I outsource someone from the Philippines to do my taxes for me? Like, is that a thing? Because I don't think I'll be able to understand what the familama is going on there. And the IRS is gonna be like, knock, 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 you haven't filed your taxes in like 20 million years. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, because I don't understand this shenanigan. I didn't learn this in school. Okay? Nobody taught me how to file my taxes in school. So I don't understand. Or do you go to like a school of taxation when you enter America? Because like, what the fudge?
So you're asking yourself, okay, that sucks for Americans, but I still understand how that affects me, a European. Well, one of the ways it may
Okay, it does
affect you
affect
is if
me.
you fall under a scary category of Americans I didn't even know existed until last summer, and those are accidental Americans. Last year, I went to a wedding in Poland, met an amazing Polish couple, and halfway through the night, they surprised us by telling us that the wife was actually also American. Her parents were studying in the US and happened to have her while they were there, and then they moved back to Poland almost immediately, where she has been her entire life. Just like the US is extremely unique in that it taxes its citizens no matter where in the world they are, the US also falls under a minority of countries that gives citizenships unrestricted to any baby born on US soil, and often these types of citizens are called accidental Americans because they aren't really Americans in any sense of the word, besides they just happen to have gained American citizenship through some sort of weird circumstance, like this Polish, well, I guess Polish American woman we met in Poland. Now, the scary part, this means she actually is legally obligated to file US taxes, but they told us they have never filed any paperwork with the American government for taxes because
Just imagine being born in the air, right? Or in water. And it's this American territory. Or you were effed. And then America is like, knock, knock, knock. You were born in our territory, nautical 1 millionth, longitude 16 millionth on this day. And it's been 20 years, you haven't filed your taxes. And you're like, what the fudge? Right? What the fudge?
kind of, why would they? They've never stepped foot in the US and for all intents and purposes are literally just Polish. And because of that, they have no clue how American taxes even work. Not that Americans who were raised in the US even really understand how American taxes fully works, to be honest. Or maybe in the case of our future children, any children we have in Germany will now automatically get German and American citizenship. Let's say we stay here, they are raised here to be as German as they possibly can be. We don't even let them speak English. They eat Bratwurst rather than hamburgers, drink Fritz Cola rather than Coca-Cola, watch Bernd das Brot rather than SpongeBob, and listen to Helena Fischer rather than Taylor Swift. They will not be treated
Helena Fischer,
any
though.
differently than us, who at least have a connection of growing up and starting our professional lives in the US. And one day the US government will come knocking, wanting a cut of their German income.
We do this.
Now, what about
Dumbass.
you guys who aren't American citizens or even
It's dark outside. You know my
accidental Americans? How does
the
all
Lulu
of
is
this
out.
affect you? Well, how does the US government know if Americans have assets in foreign banks? Thanks to Fatka. In 2010, under the Obama administration, the IRS introduced Fatka, or the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. Essentially, this act was supposed to try and counter tax evasion by Americans hiding assets abroad. What it also did was make life just a little more complicated, and by a little bit, I actually mean a lot of bit, for Americans living abroad and for foreign banks around the world. It also affects many of you watching that aren't Americans and you don't even realize it. Essentially, with FATCA, the American government forces foreign banks of sovereign nations to collect and report certain information about their customers and report it to the United States so the IRS can double check on American citizens' foreign bank accounts.
Exactly what happened to us, the YouTubers. We're like peaceful, and then this shenanigans happened, and then we're like, what? What? Actually, Philippines is lucky because it's under whatever, so it's we don't pay the entire 15%. It's reduced to something I don't even remember. I think 9 or 8. But the countries who are not like something American, I don't understand the whole situation. I was just pissed and I was like, fudge, take it. Um, they have to pay the whole 15%. Like we're already in a third world country, and you want to take our money, also America.
And ensure they don't owe them money. This is where American policy actually directly affects foreigners who have no relationship to the United States and who the United States shouldn't have any direct authority over, but foreign banks often requires all of their customers to fill out some sort of self-certification form proving they are not an American citizen, so the bank doesn't have to report their bank account information to the IRS. By the way, this is what makes it kind of scary for those accidental Americans who think just because they haven't submitted anything to the American government, they can live anonymously without Uncle Sam one day catching up to them. But what if foreign banks say, no, I am in France, United States, you can't force me to comply with your American laws. That was a terrible French accent. Well, the US slaps a 30% withholding penalty on any current or future US dollar transactions. And because the US dollar is overwhelmingly the world's most frequently used currency in global trade, this can
America is
really impact a bank's financial situation,
corrupting
making it
the
an
whole world.
ideal way of coercing foreign banks into doing what the American government wants them to do. In fact, many international financial entities no longer accept American account holders because of the additional work and expensive compliance with FATCA regulations, thus making life a little more difficult for Americans living abroad to even open a bank account in some places.
Actually,
Now,
that's true because, like, I think my mom wanted to do some shenanigans in the bank, and the bank was like, does she have an American citizenship or does she reside in the States? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, nope, can't do. You have to do it. You have no affiliation to the US. You can do it. It's easier or it's like more approved. But your mother, no, thank you. We don't like. The bank is like, no, we do not like Americans to come and apply because yeah, they have to go through all this shenanigans. So that I don't think they really care to like sign Americans.
You would think that once you finally traverse the complicated system of filing your returns
If
as
you're
an
an
American
immigrant
abroad,
without
you can breathe
dual
easy
citizenship,
knowing
it's
that you
okay.
have provided Uncle Sam with all the financial information they could possibly need. But you are wrong. Because Uncle Sam wants to know if their citizens happen to have a foreign bank account that has had over $10,000 in it at any time in the last year. And even with Fatka, they want you to fill out a separate form and send it in informing them of this. Yes, you also have to fill out an FBAR, or foreign bank account report, and let them know how much cash you have stashed. This doesn't
Damn,
mean that
so
you
nosy, Uncle
actively have
Sam.
$10,000 at that moment, but just at some point in the year, even if for just one day in that year you had more than $10,000, then you have to submit this form in addition to filing your taxes. Now, when you move abroad, the US government doesn't do the courtesy of sending you a packet of letting you know your new tax obligations that are unique to Americans living abroad. Instead, if you don't use some sort of professional help that can guide you, you are just supposed to know all of this additional paperwork. So what if you don't submit this form accidentally? You can be hit with a fine of $10,000.
Nah, no, I'm not going to the US. No, do not come and call for me. I'm not coming. I'm gonna reroute to Europe. Like, what is like? They're just scamming people, to be honest. Even if you think that 15%, let's example, is what they're taking, and 15%, let's say, is 50 cents times how many people is that per month? That is a lot of money. So essentially, the biggest corruption in the entire world is, ta-da, we found it.
So the answer may be becoming more clear already, but why are 1 in 3 Americans looking at the possibility of giving up their US citizenship? If you aren't savvy on American history, let me fill you in a bit. One of the big grievances the American colonies had against the UK was that they were being taxed but had no representation in the British government. They felt it was unfair that no one was advocating for them, but they were still being forced to pay into that system. Well, this was part of the reason that led to the Revolutionary War, that led to independence, and if you see where I'm going with this, the US is doing this exact same thing to American citizens today. There are an estimated 5.1 to 9 million American citizens living abroad, and if you look at the population of US states, this makes a population bigger than a majority of the US states. Yet, we have no representation in the government like our fellow citizens actually living in the states. On top of that, in many ways, Americans abroad don't even receive the benefits of our taxes since we are living abroad. So make no mistake, this complicated tax system is often what drives people from the US to renounce citizenship. The fact is, most people who renounce citizenship aren't doing it because they hate the US. Oh, and also a fun fact is that the US publicly publishes the names of those that renounce their citizenship so all can see who these unpatriotic people are who dare run from Uncle Sam. Even on that website, they say these people who have ended their US resident status for federal tax purposes. Like, they know this is why Americans want to leave and just—
I'm so glad I watched this. So if ever there's a possibility in the future, I'm like, nah, bitch, I'm not having citizenship. I'll just have your green card. Thank you, but I don't care about the freaking citizenship. Like, you can keep it.
just own it. But oh, just you wait. As if you thought the US would let those people just simply give up their obligations to giving the US their
There's
money.
more?
After Fatka, a record number of Americans started giving up their American citizenship and the US government took notice. Now, please note again that there are upwards of 9 million
like
Americans
your
living abroad. And when I say
bitter
record
ex.
number of Americans started giving up citizenship, don't get the idea that we're talking millions of people leaving the old red, white, and blue. We're talking thousands. So definitely not a big percentage, but the US still took note. So what did they do? They made the fee for giving up American citizenship more expensive. Oh wait, I don't think I emphasized that enough. They made it over 5 times more expensive, increasing the price from one of the most expensive renunciation fees in the world already at $450 to $2,350. To put this into perspective, here are a few fees from around the world for renouncing your citizenship. Our current home country, Germany, free. Singapore, about 25 US dollars. Australia, roughly the same as about 194 US dollars. New Zealand, around 243 US dollars. Canada, only 73 US dollars. And even one of the most expensive in the world, the UK, is still significantly cheaper at only 570 US dollars. In fact, even in Germany, which previously didn't allow everybody who naturalized to keep their former citizenship, would sometimes make an
Let me
exception
check
for Americans
Philippines.
because they deemed the
I don't
American
think they care.
renunciation
Philippines like,
fees
yeah,
as
just go.
undue financial
Thank
hardship
you.
if they
I
determined
think
you
Philippines will be like, oh, we'll pay you to even renounce. No, I'm just kidding. But I want to check. Philippines renounce citizenship fee. I don't know if there is. It's only freaking $50. It's only freaking $50. You just get an authorization and then an oath of renunciation, which is $25 each. An authorization is $25, and the oath is $25, $50. Thank you. Next. And then we have 2,300 something something. Wow. America is a scam.
the American renunciation fees as undue financial hardship if they determined you couldn't afford it. Now, the US has started discussing reducing the fee back down to what it used to be, but this hasn't happened yet. To see who made it this far into the video, the random question of the week is: would you recommend a trip to Mallorca for a family? Thanks so much for watching, guys.
Mallorca?
Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you in my next
I'm so glad I
video.
watched this because I cannot be bothered with all that shenanigans. Like, I thought so called third world countries are more corrupt than the others because we really look up to other countries. Obviously, we're like, oh my gosh, America, oh, beautiful, oh my gosh, they could do no wrong. What? Anyways, beautiful peeps, I know you're irritated right now, but I am so freaking pissed knowing all this. So freaking pissed. Wow, I cannot believe it. Wow. Yeah? Nah, this is just modern day taking advantage of your people, making them work for you, put money in their pockets. No matter what corner of the world you go to, they will find you. Damn, that's crazy. But anyways, beautiful people, let me know if you would disagree that it's actually good thing what America is doing. And let me know if there's more that you wanna like add into this video, like an input to this video. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys, and hopefully I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.